Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Jesus loves you. We're driving in the rain. So, Age of Aquarius, one of my favorite songs. Non-Christian, that is. Such a good song. Really like it. But the lyrics are all about the New Age. So New Age believers believe that there will be this age of peace and security. The Bible tells us it's the time of great tribulation. That is what we're going towards, my friends. That is what we're heading towards. That's what all the governments are setting us up for. With all the tribulation that we're dealing with now, such as the 2020 pandemic, it's all setting us up, right? Digital currency, one world government, one world religion. It's all setting us up for this period of the Age of Aquarius, the Golden Dawn. When the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, then peace will guide the planets and love will steer the stars. Sounds pretty new agey, doesn't it? Yes, it is. Jesus is the one who's going to bring the true peace and security in 1,000 years of peace. It's called the millennial reign, or the millennium. It's mentioned in the Bible, in Revelation. If you want to come out of depression and you want to lift your spirits, read the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation, chapter 1, pronounces a blessing on anybody who hears or reads this book, reads it out loud and hears it and has faith in it and does what it says. There's a blessing pronounced. It's the only book of the Bible. There's a blessing pronounced. Now, if you're having trouble with demons, read the book of Revelation out loud. All you have to do is chapter 1. Play it on your phone. Let it play. Demons will flee. They cannot stand it. It pronounces the revelation of Jesus Christ, who he is, and it unravels the seals, right? The trumpets, the bowls, all bringing Christ's reign on earth to fruition. That's what the book of Revelation is about. It's about Christ getting his kingdom on earth. But before that happens, my friend, there's going to be a period of false peace and security. We see this guy, Abdullah Hashem. I don't even want to mention that name because, you know, it's blasphemous to have, in my view, to have that name as your name. Okay? He's claiming he's the Mahdi, which is the Muslim Messiah figure. He's claiming he's the new Pope, right? All his followers are sycophantly following him, and they're saying that he did great miracles. So here we go. This is just the start. Jesus warned us about this. There will rise many false Christs. I believe what we're seeing with him is just the beginning, but he is a very interesting case because his followers were at the Vatican the day that the Pope died, and they were holding up banners that say, "You're not the real Pope. This Abdullah guy, he's the real Pope." And they were chanting, and then the Pope died. So his followers are taking that as a miracle, that this guy is the real deal. The Pope Francis was not, and he is going to take his seat. Now, a lot of people think he's just nonsense. He's a clown. He's small potatoes. Yeah, that's what it seems. At the same time, we've never seen anything like this before. That a guy is claiming to be the new Pope. I mean, if you look at his claims, you know, there may have been people who put, I don't think there's been anybody who's claimed as much as him in the public sphere. And at the time when the Pope just died, that he can connect his followers being there and all this stuff. And there's all these other miracles. They say that he rose people from the dead. And there's people giving testimonies about it. So I'm not saying he's going to be a big thing, but who knows? Maybe he's a candidate for the false prophet. We know that the seat of Pope is vacant right now. May 7th, they're going to have their conclave. And I believe the next Pope or somebody, whoever takes that position, will be the false Messiah or false prophet. Maybe it'll be this guy. Maybe it'll be somebody else. Maybe there won't be another Pope, but there will be the rise of the false prophet. Or maybe this new Pope will be the false prophet, right? We all know that Malachi prophecy. Francis was supposedly the 112th, the last Pope. Others are saying that the next guy is the last Pope. Peter the Roman, who will shepherd his flock through great tribulation, and then God will judge Rome finally. And that's biblical. That's in Revelation as well. So we've never seen anything like this, guys. All these things on the horizon. May is a huge month for Rapture watching. We have the second Passover coming, which could be a potential watch date for a Rapture. It's sort of a hidden feast day, right? Christ came and fulfilled the first Passover. Well, what about the second Passover? Very interesting. We have the conclave going on, like I said, on May 7th. Also on May 7th, the digital ID system is going to go live. We're all going to have to get our digital license, right? That's in America. Also around this time is when Noah got into the ark. Now, Noah was in the ark for 7 days, right? The flood is a picture of the tribulation. Noah being taken into the ark and lifted up above the water is a picture of the rapture. There are these pictures of the rapture in the Old Testament and in the Bible. Oh gosh, I'm hitting traffic. That's not cool, man. It's all good. Got a long ride and I wanted to make this video and talk to you guys because the time is near. It's very near. And we want to spread the gospel. We want to do what we can. Okay? So that song is all about that new age system that everybody's looking for, right? Peace will guide the planet. You know, they're not talking about Jesus, but guess what? There will be a false Jesus. Yeah, because everybody wants Jesus. You ever notice that? All the religions, they're fighting over Jesus was a Buddhist. Jesus was a Muslim, right? I know these Muslim guys, they have a booth out on the street in the park, and they put that sign up. Jesus was a Muslim. There you go. When I was Hare Krishna, Jesus went to India. Jesus was a Hindu. Jesus was a Vaishnava, right? Jesus stayed in the Jagannath temple. He even wrote his name, Saint Isa. It's there. He's in our scriptures. Why is everybody all about Jesus? Because he's the real deal. He's what it's all about. Our whole calendar is based on this person. He's the most famous person in the world. I remember when I was Hare Krishna, they used to say, Krishna is the most famous person in the world. No, that's Jesus. Yeah. So there will be this false Jesus who comes in the tribulation period, in the age of Aquarius, right? In the golden dawn. That's what's about to happen. There's going to be a Jesus-type figure, a false Messiah. Many false Christs will rise, right? Age of Aquarius. Harmony and understanding. Sympathy and trust abounding. No more falsehoods or derision. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Yeah. Only when Jesus is here will this actually happen. So this is the false, right? There is a true one that is going to come. By the way, I'm literally stopped dead in the middle of the highway. It's a parking. I might as well put my car in park. I'm going to, actually. I'm literally stopped dead. I've never seen this ever. I lived in New York City for like, I don't know, 15, 20 years. And I've never been stopped dead on a parking lot. Where the highway's a parking lot, right? Anyway, it's a good time to make a video. And I'm very far from my home. My gosh, dude. Anyway. Thank you guys for tuning in. And for being with me for this. So, golden living dreams of visions, mystic, crystal revelation, and the mind's true liberation, Aquarius, right? That's what it's all about. That mystic visions, crystals, all this new age stuff. That's demonic. Okay, you're communing with demons when you do that stuff. Crystals are tricky. You got to be careful about that stuff. You don't want to have that stuff in your house because it can bring demons. It can open doors. You know. So I always love this song. I just like the sound of it, the structure. I like female vocalists. I like the style. I like 60. It's just a good song. And then at the end, how it kind of just cuts and just, you know. Ba-na, 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 and it's like, hey, the sunshine, let the sun shining, the sun shining. If you want to feel good, watch those guys dance in that video. Watch that video, watch how they dance at the end. It's so cool, man. So it's a good song, you know, let the sun shine in. But it's about a false system. Hold on, I gotta get off this exit. This is ridiculous. Hold on. So yeah, you ever realize that the boomer generation Doesn't it just seem like the boomer generation is going to be the last generation? Oh, well, that's what Jesus said. This generation, the boomer generation, right? The fig tree generation. The generation that will see the birth of Israel. 1948, that's the boomers. That generation will not pass until all these things happen. That means the rapture, the great tribulation, the signs and wonders mentioned in the book of Matthew 24, in Revelation, all the Daniel things, and the actual second coming. Okay, these things will not, this generation will not disappear before all these things happen. And that generation is 77 years old. Oh, what do you know? On May 14th. Here we come, May. May is a huge rapture time, okay? 77 years old Israel is. The Bible says that a generation would be 80 years if it's strong. Okay, that's one interpretation of those verses. It means that this generation would pass in about 3 years. If there's a rapture this year in 2025, which I believe there will be, 3.5 years in will be the start of the Great Tribulation, the second half. So this is where we're at. You ever notice that the boomer generation had a lot of good things about it, and it doesn't seem like it's the last substantial group of people? Like, look at the newer generations. No shade on them, but we can't even work. You know, I saw that meme of kind of like the trad husband and wife, you know, and they're like, it says my parents in their 30s, and they're like, let's buy a house, you know. And then it's like me in my 30s, and it's a guy with like, you know, stringy hair, and he's like, what book of Revelation are we in today? You know what I mean? That's how it is. Like, we got the internet, we got TikTok, like our brains are just, like, we can't even focus. You know, like, look at the movies and the films from back in the 70s compared to now. Now there's good stuff, don't get me wrong. But doesn't it just seem like society is on the decline? Look at our youth. It's sad, right? This generation will not pass until all these things have happened. Okay, one of my favorite singers is Selena. Just found out about her about, I don't know, 6 months to a year ago. Of course, I always heard about her, but didn't really know her music. Maybe I heard like those 2 English songs on the radio, but it just didn't catch my attention back then. And one day I was at work, and these awesome Mexican ladies were playing the radio, and I heard this amazing song, and I Shazammed it on my phone, right? That app that tells you what song it is. And it was Selena. I'm like, Selena, huh? Okay. The song was called Como la Flor. Como la Flor, con tanto amor, me diste tú, sin marchito. Yo siempre te, pero ay, como me duele. Yes, right? I went home, I listened to that song, man. It brought me to tears. I said, this is one of the greatest songs ever written. Who is this person? This person is an angel. She's like otherworldly. I'm a huge fan of female vocalists. I've been listening to them ever since I was young. Bjork, Tori Amos, Fiona Apple. Who else? Nancy Sinatra, Shirley Bassey, Dusty Springfield, Sade, of course. I discovered her in college. Oh, what a day that was when I discovered Sade. Talked to my friend Dave. I said, who is this? He says, that's Sade. You don't know I don't know Sade. Right? My parents didn't listen to that growing up, you know? Maybe, you know, Smooth Operator would come on the radio, but you thought it was like an old person song or something, you know? But no, you know? I saw Lovers Live when I was in college on HBO, and I'm like, so I was listening to a lot of trip hop at the time, right? Portishead, Estero, Supreme Beings of Leisure, you know, all these female fronted, super slow beats, like R&B influence, right? Morchiba, Massive Attack. Who else? So many good ones. Kind of blanking right now, right? And then boom, Sade comes to my life, you know. And there's these different time periods we can remember, like, oh, this song, I remember I was at this place and that thing happened, and I was with this person, and you know, this, you know, these. It's just amazing. Oh, I was working here. Oh, I remember, you know, it's just amazing. So I believe all these things are coming with us to heaven, right? But when I discovered Selena, became kind of obsessed with her music. It's very beautiful, wonderful, positive. She's an awesome person. I really hope she's in heaven. And I believe she was a Christian, you know. She was a Jehovah's Witness from what I understand. And I've seen videos of her talking about her faith, so that's awesome. But Selena died when she was about, what, 22? 26, I think 22. Oh, how sad. How tragic. A beautiful, amazing soul. So talented. I mean, honestly, she's one of the best female vocalists in the world. It's just, you know, I heard that song, and I listened to, what is the song? I Could Fall in Love, right? One of her English songs. My friend told me to listen to that. She said it was her favorite. So I'm in my car with the windows down, and I'm blasting that song, and this lady comes out. Are you blasting Selena? I'm like, yeah, I just found out about her, you know? You just found out about Selena? Yeah! Where have I been? Right? My gosh, who is this person? So it's like all the culmination of female vocalists, right? It was the same when I discovered Kate Bush. These are like in my older years I discovered, right? When I discovered Kate Bush, it was like, how come I didn't know about her? You know, another one of my favorite singers of all time. Astrid Gilberto, also, I love her. I'm missing some, you know, Minnie Riperton, of course, Whitney Houston, etc., etc., etc. There's so many good ones. Nina Simone, Billie Holiday, of course. Lauryn Hill. She became Christian. She was always Christian, actually. So, Selena gets shot by her best friend. This is not our world. You know, because I always knew that Selena like died and it was tragic. Didn't know the details. But when I started reading up on it and watched the movie with J-Lo, right, and watched that documentary which is called Yolanda and Selena. Yolanda was the girl who killed her, and it was her best friend. And when I learned about that, it made me think of God, and it made me think, this is not heaven. There has to be a God, because for a beautiful person like Selena, and a talented person who brought so much joy to so many people, to just be taken away at 22. No rhyme, no reason. It just made me think, like, this is not heaven. There's got to be an afterlife. With all the tragedy in this world, it can't be that children are just dying, born blind, born homeless, right? People dying of drug addiction, trauma, trying to get better, they can't. I mean, what are we even talking about here, right? Well, this is not our home. That kind of stuff woke me up. There is a God, there is a reckoning, there will be a heaven, and it's not here. But if you watch that documentary about Selena and Yolanda, it's very interesting. Yolanda was a Christian, Selena was a Christian. There's a lot more to the story that people don't know. If you're interested in that, if you like Selena and you're interested in that whole thing, I would watch the movie. Although, warning, it might dash your idyllic idea that you had of this person, this awesome singer, because she was human. She had flaws. We didn't see some of that. But from what Yolanda says, if we can believe her, and I watched the movie twice. The first time, I thought, why do I want to hear what Yolanda has to say? Selena's not here and she is. Why does she have a right to say anything? And then I realized, like, I'm being really judgmental. Let me just listen to what she says. And I watched it 2 times, and the second time I watched it, I felt like I was on the jury. Now, of course, we're all biased as Selena fans. But if you watch that unbiased, what I believe you'll see is, I believe she killed her by accident. The gun went off. If you understand the story, she had bought a gun for her own protection. Because Selena's father, supposedly, was hiring goons to mess with this girl, Yolanda. That's what she claims. They roughed her up. They were shooting at her window. They slashed her tires. Why? Why would they do this? Well, because Yolanda was Selena's best friend, which you can see in the video. Selena calling Yolanda, leaving messages. Hey, let's hang out. Let's go to the mall. They used to always go to the mall and shop together. Where are you, Yolanda? You're not answering your phone. This is Selena calling Yolanda, right? They spin it out to be, oh, Yolanda was this crazy fan. Right. There's always some kind of mythology around our heroes. And there's always an official story, and then there's the true story. So there was a lot going on with Selena and Yolanda. One of the things was Selena wanted to make a clothing line, which she did. That was her dream, other than singing. Her father really wanted her to sing. But the father didn't want her to do the clothing line and have her own independence and do her own thing. She did. It was her baby. It was her dream. So she hired Yolanda to head that up because she was her good friend and she knew she could trust her. So she handled all the finances, etc. I don't want to go too much into the story. There's a lot more to it. Watch it, you'll see. The whole thing that she was stealing money, embezzling money, Yolanda was. Watch the documentary, you'll see there's way more to it. And I'm skipping a major aspect of it, but I just don't feel like talking about it. So if you guys see it, you'll see it. It's kind of a downer. So she bought this gun for protection because she was hanging with Selena. She was trying to quit. Selena didn't want her to quit. It seems to me like she was love bombing her, guilting her, hey, who else is going to do this? Yolanda was very upset and took the gun and put it to her head and said, what do you want me to do? K-I-L-L myself? I've done everything for your family, right? And there's all other aspects to it that are behind it. And then Selena said no. Yolanda claims that she took the gun and then bam, it went off. And then Selena runs out, collapses in the lobby of the hotel in Texas. I guess it was in Corpus Christi, I believe so. Maybe not. So then people say that she didn't die in the lobby, she died in the hospital. So they got her to the hospital, and some people say that she died because her father and her family refused blood transfusion. Why? Because they were Jehovah's Witnesses. So that's another scandal aspect of it. Excuse me. So that's a possibility. All this to say, man, we don't know. You look into things, and this is not our home. This is not heaven. And I saw a video of Yolanda saying, crying. She's in prison. She's been in prison ever since. She was just up on parole, and I think she got denied. I have to look up, but I heard that she was denied. She's sitting there crying in prison, doing her time, and she says, I can never forgive myself. I killed my best friend Selena. It was an accident. I swear it was an accident. Totally distraught. And when it happens, she's in her truck with the gun to her head on 911 call for like an hour. If you want to know about psychology, and you can tell when somebody's legitimately distraught and traumatized, watch that video, that audio, you'll hear it, man. And this guy from 911 saved her life, talked her down. She wanted to do that. Why? Is that a cold-blooded person? No. The stories that they tell of her walking out and going after her, that's not true. Right? So in this interview, she says, my best friend is gone. I want to see her just as much as everybody else. I'll never forgive myself. Never be able to forgive myself, she says. But I know God can forgive me. Wow. How powerful and true is that? God knows everything that's going on here. Maybe God wanted to take Selena home early. We don't know what was going to happen. There's all kinds of mysteries in this thing. But it's true. God forgives us. Now, there are a lot of murderers who get saved. Son of Sam, legitimate. Listen to his testimony. You'll know that he's legit. Right? Jeffrey Dahmer. Is he legit? Maybe. But do you believe that a serial killer who has faith in Christ can be forgiven his sins and go to heaven? Well, look at Paul. He was having Christians killed. We're all sinners. All sin is punishable by death. So the answer is yes. One of the Manson girls from the Manson murders, she got saved in prison. One of them. The others didn't. And I saw a video of it. And, she's like 18 in prison, peaceful. She goes, I found Jesus Christ. they say, yeah, well, you know, you had killed people, and people might think, you know, this and that. She says, you know, I'm so sorry for what I did, but I'm forgiving you. In this world, I'll have to pay the consequences. But in the next life, God has forgiven me, and I will see my Lord. How powerful is